Namaskar and welcome. To all my colleagues from the Defense Services, Armed Forces, and Uniformed Services, thank you for joining me today, and more importantly, thank you for your years of service to the nation. In this video series, we are going to talk about one of the most respected global certifications in the security domain, the Certified Protection Professional, commonly known as CPP. CPP is often called the gold standard for security management professionals. It is not a basic course, not a short-term training, and not a cosmetic certification. It is a globally recognized credential awarded by ASIS International, validating that you can think, plan, and lead security at a strategic and enterprise level. For defense and armed forces officers transitioning to the corporate world, CPP can become a powerful bridge if it is understood and used correctly. In the next few minutes, we will clearly and honestly examine what CPP offers, how it fits into your transition journey, and how to approach it with clarity rather than confusion. Let us begin with a hard truth, something most officers realize only after stepping into the corporate ecosystem. The transition from defense or armed forces to the corporate sector is not a placement problem. It is a career translation problem. In uniform, your rank, command, and authority are clearly understood. In the corporate world, those same strengths need a new language, a language of risk, governance, compliance, and business impact. This is where certifications like PMP and CPP come into the picture. These certifications act as translators. They convert your operational experience into terms that corporate boards, CXOs, and global organizations understand and trust. But, and this is extremely important, certifications alone do not guarantee success. They work only when supported by three things. Mentorship, so expectations are realistic. Early planning, preferably to 2-3 years before retirement. And contextual understanding, so you know where and how to apply your experience. CPP, when pursued with clarity, positions you not as a retired officer looking for a role, but as a security leader ready for enterprise responsibility. Now let us focus specifically on the CPP certification ecosystem, and why it aligns so well with defense and armed forces backgrounds. First, CPP operates within a very mature global ecosystem. It is not just an exam, it is backed by international standards, structured body of knowledge, and a strong professional community spread across countries and industries. Second, CPP follows strict international standards. The concepts you study, risk management, crisis response, investigations, physical security, information security, are not theoretical. They are the same principles used by multinational corporations, critical infrastructure operators, aviation, oil and gas, and global consulting firms. Third, and this is crucial, CPP is a transportable certification. Unlike designations that are limited to one country or one sector, CPP travels with you. Whether you work in India, the Middle East, Africa, or Southeast Asia, the credential retains its value. For armed forces officers who have led men, managed crises, assessed threats, and taken responsibility under pressure, CPP does not teach you leadership from scratch. It reframes your existing leadership into a globally recognized security management framework. One of the biggest myths around the CPP certification is that it is meant only for corporate security managers. That is not true. ASIS evaluates eligibility based on education, total security experience, and something called responsible charge. Let us first look at the table. If you hold a master's degree or higher, you need 5 years of total security-related experience, out of which 3 years must be in responsible charge. If you hold a bachelor's degree or higher, you need 6 years of total security experience, again with 3 years in responsible charge. Now, the key question most officers ask is, what exactly is responsible charge? Responsible charge does not simply mean rank, designation, or the number of people under your command. It means that you had independent authority to make decisions, plan operations, allocate resources, assess risks, and were accountable for outcomes, without waiting for step-by-step instructions. For defense and armed forces officers, this is actually your natural strength. Whether you were commanding a unit, heading a department, managing security of an installation, conducting operations, handling intelligence inputs, or leading crisis response, These are all classic examples of responsible charge. The important part is not what your rank was, but what decisions you were responsible for. At this stage, many officers look at the CPP syllabus and feel slightly overwhelmed. 7 domains may sound like a lot, but let me reassure you right away. The CPP Body of Knowledge is not teaching you something alien or completely new. It is simply organizing what you already know and have practiced into a structured, global security management framework. Let us quickly understand the 7 domains. Security principles and practices is the foundation of CPP. This domain focuses on how to design, plan, and manage an organization's overall security program, with strong emphasis on risk assessment and enterprise-level thinking. Business principles and practices is where CPP becomes different from purely tactical certifications. Here, you learn to think like a senior manager: budgets, cost-benefit analysis, governance, and aligning security with business objectives. Investigations cover structured, lawful, and ethical handling of incidents, fact-finding, evidence handling, interviews, and reporting, very familiar territory for officers with operational or intelligence backgrounds. Personal security deals with the human element of risk, vetting, insider threats, workplace violence, executive protection, and travel security. Physical security focuses on protection of assets and facilities, perimeter security, access control, surveillance, security technology, and layered defense concepts. Information security introduces the protection of information assets, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and how physical and cyber risks increasingly overlap. Finally, crisis management brings everything together: emergency response, business continuity, disaster recovery, and leadership during high-stress situations. For defense and armed forces officers, the key mindset shift is this: CPP does not test how bravely you respond. It tests how systematically you plan, prevent, and manage risk. Now let us clearly understand how the CPP examination is structured, because clarity removes anxiety. The CPP exam is a computer-based test, conducted at authorized testing centers or through online proctoring. As you can see on the screen, the exam consists of 225 multiple-choice questions in total. Out of these, 200 questions are scored and 25 questions are unscored pre-test questions. These unscored questions are mixed randomly into the paper. You will not know which ones they are, so every question must be treated with equal seriousness. The total time available is 4 hours, or 240 minutes, which is more than adequate if you maintain a steady pace and avoid overthinking. All questions are multiple choice with 4 options. There are no negative marks for incorrect answers, so every question should be attempted. The passing score is 700 on a scaled score system. This does not mean 70%. Scale scoring is used to account for slight variations in difficulty between different exam versions, ensuring fairness for all candidates. One very important point to understand: CPP is not a memory-based exam. It is an experience-based and judgment-based assessment. The exam tests how a security leader should think, not how a particular organization works. For defense and armed forces officers, this means you must temporarily set aside the "how we used to do it" mindset and adopt the ASIS recommended best practice mindset. One of the biggest mistakes candidates make while preparing for CPP is studying too many sources. Let me make this very clear: CPP is not an open-ended exam. Every question is drawn from defined, official reference materials. The most important and primary reference is the protection of assets, commonly called POA. POA is a comprehensive 8-volume set, and it serves as the backbone of the CPP examination. The 2021 edition bundle is currently the recommended reference by ASIS, and it aligns directly with the exam content. You do not need to memorize POA cover to cover. You need to understand the ASIS way of thinking, how risks are assessed, how decisions are prioritized, and how security programs are managed at an enterprise level. In addition to POA, candidates must also be familiar with ASIS standards and guidelines. These documents are extremely important because they translate theory into implementable best practices. In many cases, they are more current and practical than traditional textbooks. For defense and armed forces officers, This is where mindset adjustment is required. The exam does not test how your unit or organization operated. It tests how ASIS recommends security should be designed and governed. If there is ever a conflict between your past experience and what POA or ASIS standards say, for the purpose of the exam, ASIS is always correct. Now let us look at the CPP fee structure, specifically from an India-centric perspective. ASIS International places India under Emerging Market Category 2, which significantly reduces the overall cost of CPP certification. For candidates applying from India, the CPP application and examination fee under Emerging Market Category 2 is $460 for ASIS members and $680 for non-members. This is a substantial reduction when compared to the standard global fee, and it makes CPP financially far more accessible for Indian defense and armed forces officers. Even the retake fee, if ever required, remains fixed at $480, regardless of membership status. CPP is not a one-time event. It is a professional credential that needs to be maintained. The recertification fee, payable once every 3 years, ranges between $150 and $250, which is modest when spread across the full certification cycle. The key takeaway for officers in India is this: CPP offers global credibility at an emerging market cost. Now that you understand what the CPP certification is, how the exam is structured, and what it demands financially and professionally, the most important question is, how do you prepare for it strategically? For most defense and armed forces officers, CPP success is not about intelligence or experience. It is about structured preparation and disciplined execution, exactly the skills you already possess. The recommended 3-month plan provides a balanced and stress-free path. In the first month, the focus is on building the foundation. Domain 1 introduces you to security principles and enterprise risk management, shifting your thinking from unit-level operations to organization-wide risk. Alongside this, Domains 2 and 7 bring in business and crisis management. This is where officers learn to speak the language of senior management, understanding return on investment, governance, and resilience. The second month focuses on core protection functions. Domains 3 and 4, investigations and personal security, will feel familiar, but remember, the exam expects policy-driven, standardized ASIS logic, not operational instinct. Domain 5 then deepens your understanding of physical security, covering CPTED, protection systems, and technology integration from a design and management perspective. The final month is about readiness. Domain 6 addresses information security and the converged threat environment. The remaining time must be dedicated to mock exams, identifying weak areas, and building mental stamina for a 4-hour test. For senior and experienced officers who are short on time, a 1-month intensive plan is possible, but only with focused study and daily commitment. In this approach, the first 2 weeks cover Domains 1 through 4, the third week focuses on Domains 5 and 6, and the final week is reserved for crisis management and full-length mock exams. Finally, remember this: CPP rewards those who think like managers, not commanders. Life safety always comes first. Policy always precedes action. And decisions must align with ASIS standards, not individual organizational practices. If you prepare with this mindset, the CPP certification becomes not just achievable, but transformational for your second career. As we conclude, remember this: the certified protection professional is the global gold standard in security management. While the journey may appear demanding, structured study and a clear understanding of the ASIS body of knowledge make it not only achievable, but deeply rewarding. Success comes from thinking the ASIS way, placing life safety first, ensuring policy always precedes action, and approaching security through strategic, enterprise-level risk management. CPP is more than a certification. It is a commitment to professional excellence, one that enhances your credibility and places you among a global community of security leaders. The benefits are lifelong: global recognition, professional respect, and access to an elite peer network. Thank you for investing your time with me today. If you found this session valuable, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with fellow officers preparing for their next professional transition. For personalized guidance, mentoring, or CPP preparation support, you are welcome to reach out to me on the email provided. Until then, prepare strategically, think globally, and lead with confidence.